Hello and welcome to the latest Gull'S live view. I'm joined by Chris.
Evening all.
And Dom.
Hello guys, you all right?
I tried to change it around there just to try and catch you out because usually go Dom first.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was like, oh, me.
You've got to have entertainment because our season sadly is basically over. Despite a valiant effort, we lost 2-1 at Grimsby at the weekend. Were either of you there?
No, we weren't there.
No, I don't think so. No. But we both followed it, and look, I've said it many a times recently. We get it was always going to be an outside chance, and as Gary Johnson says, you've got to keep going until it's mathematically over. But that defeat at Grimsby, we had to win it. Really, we gave it a go, but I think our season was summed up in that game by the sounds of it. What are your thoughts on it, Dom?
I think it's a game that's been coming over the hill for a while, isn't it? I think we've seen it coming and thought, oh, Grimsby away, is that going to be the game that kind of kills us? And I mean, the main points of the game I thought is that we gave it a great go.
Yes,
I mean, we were on top first half, and it was just one of those games where sometimes you lose those type of games. You have a good go against a good team, they fight back. It's just not quite enough. And I mean, there were some good chances first half. Connor missed a great headed chance, didn't he, to put us 2-1 up. That was probably a critical moment because second half it just seemed to be swinging their way. Following the updates, it just felt like a goal was coming. And,
I agree. I did feel it was coming. Chris, what are your thoughts? Anything to add to that?
I think it feels like a lot of games, really. I mean, I would say I wasn't there on Saturday, but it sounds very similar to the Halifax game, really, where and a lot of games where, and as I've said over the last few weeks, where we've scored goals in the first half of games, and when we've scored a second goal, it makes a big difference. I think we had so many chances in that first half. You kind of can't, three. It sounds like I've not seen the full highlights, but we had 3 or 4 really presentable opportunities that we didn't take. And then, of course, with the better the side, the bigger the risk in the second half. And obviously, then, obviously when you give away an equaliser quite so quickly after you go ahead, if we'd have gone in at 1-0, it might have. The game would have probably panned out differently, but it's just disappointing.
A goal before half time is a goal before half time is so crucial, usually, isn't it? It does happen so often that a team scores before half time and then they take it into the second half, and I think that's what happened. And we just run out of energy, I think, second half.
I think Lolo's coming on.
We didn't have the extra legs.
It's worth a go, but like the subs we made, it just kind of shows that I don't have anything against them too individually, but we need other options. Look at Stockport's B team. We've had this conversation in our TORQUAYTALK chat tonight. Just look how good their B team is. Most of that would be in our first team. I'm sorry to say it as much. And a lot of those players, like even like Whitfield, obviously, for example, not saying they're all B team players who are just playing in that cup, but some of them players with like strong players would be a promotion winning team really, like next season as an example. So. Yeah,
I thought it was interesting. I thought Gary's interview on the website was interesting and perhaps a little bit telling after the game, in that he talked about they'd had the ability to rest 5 players the game before because they knew what a big game it was, and he pretty much said we had nothing off the bench that we could make a difference from.
And you look at players back as well.
Yeah, and players that we brought in again. You think Opie Edwards came back in, and it was an odd signing at the time because it's like we signed the same player 5 times this season pretty much, and whether he's injured, not available, whatever, he wasn't even on the bench again at the weekend. So you're bringing players in who've done absolutely made no difference. Duke McKenna made a difference, but then was at fault for that goal. That first goal's been coming. He does, he does need to learn when to play, when to get rid of it, when to clear his lines, when to get the ball wider, get it out of that area in the middle. Of course, he faffed around in the middle, gave the ball away, got caught, and it cost you a goal. That's been coming in that sense, which I think is frustrating. But the ability to have nothing off the bench has hurt us all season, hasn't it? Really, I mean, that's not.
Yeah, you could keep saying that every game. I mean, it's the sort of game you don't mind early in the season, do you? You don't tend to mind losing to a good team 2-1 away from home, but when you need the points desperately, like we did on Saturday, you just
No, we're a very decent team, and we could say just below playoffs. The table doesn't lie. Obviously. The team we have now, most of them are playoff standard. We've said this many times. Obviously, the game the season started for us at Weymouth away, and then since then we've been a half decent, like lower playoff team. But no, I mean,
I think also on top of that, Sam, I think as well the problem is we have got playoff players. We've got players who are good enough to be in a side that's challenging for the top positions, but we've also got players who shouldn't be at the club.
Sure, it should be in the
and
south,
I think that the problem is there's not a lot in between, is there? There's not a lot of players who can come in and make a difference and can come in and the standard doesn't drop massively. And if you think, we've got our first 11 And that's pretty much it. So as soon as we've had a couple of injuries, we've had to bring other players in. The difference in quality is really the difference between you being able to win games and not being able to win games. That's been
you've got one striker who's come off the bench and basically got written off by the manager a little while back, didn't he? But of course, he's the only one you've got left on the bench to put on. I mean, very little faith in him to do anything.
Yeah, last season we had more depth, especially by the end of the season. When you could cut,
you always need two. You always need two strikers on the bench.
You're right. And when we could go into the playoff final and like Scott Bowden didn't play because he was getting married, or we could kind of say, "Look, cheers Scott for all your work, but we're okay with the team we've got now." Kind of shows that by the end what the difference in the squads were. Yeah,
Josh Amira couldn't even get on the bench, and crikey, the bloke's got 15 National League goals or whatever ridiculous amount it is this season, isn't it? So.
But so we're going to the power rankings, which I haven't even shown you two yet, which I normally do. So it's going to be a surprise for you two as well.
McDonald's top, gotta be.
Anyway, so thanks for watching the video. And actually, no, Sophie Edwards. But so in 10th place we have Asa Hall. This is based on the last 3 games, mind you. So Asa Hall's in 10th. He scored the goal against Grimsby.
It was a good hit, wasn't it? I saw it on the highlights. Whacked it into the top of the net, but does sound like he had quite a quiet game. Again, he's trying to get up to fitness and struggling to keep the legs in midfield. Again, play 90 minutes, that's a trouble. You need to bring him off after 60, 70, but there's no midfielders to bring on. So.
Again, having not been there, I'm making this comment on past games rather than a specific game, but I don't think I've seen a game where him and Lapsley together has really worked, because they are not similar necessarily, but they're both kind of workhorsey midfield players rather than one workhorse who can sit a bit and then one a bit more expansive player, which is where, Armani's been much better, when he's been able to play in the middle and then get forward.
Sort of players that you can close down, aren't they? And they're not going to pick you with their passing. You need somebody else to do that. So,
you're right.
I mean, Asa's doing his best, isn't he? But just looking at his stats the other day and how much it's decreased from last season.
He was unbelievable last season, to be fair. I think you're not really going to get that season again. I think
but it's decreased by quite a lot, and he's missed quite a lot of games.
I don't mind that though, because Lapsy has come in. I think Lapsy is always going to be like the replacement, where we're not as reliant on.
The trouble is, he's missed quite a lot of games.
That is the issue. That is the issue. And then Hall's had to be rushed back. I feel like Johnson's had to rush back Lapsy in Hall. Maybe Hall's not completely fit yet. This is the issue we have.
As Gary said on more than one occasion, but it's another problem with having a small squad, isn't it? When we basically have pretty much no one else. Yeah. And even players who've kind of come in and done a job at certain times, players like Chilwell Johnson, he's not fit now, and things like that. And that has kind of what I think. Hall, Wright, and Moxie, what happens to them over the summer is going to be interesting and key, because there's an argument that says I can see all 3 of them not being there next season. I don't think we would choose that, but equally, Hall played half the games maybe.
I think the trouble with Asa's one of our highest earners, isn't he? Is he worth that? That's the thing.
He's not for half the games.
That's a tough thing. Like on their day, all 3 of them by far one of the first names on the team sheet. But logistically, and any player, not just players near the end of I would take all 3 of them still, probably, especially Moxie. But
certainly the forward areas, I'd have Wright at the club.
Yeah,
I think the issue is he's the main man, and at the moment he's all there is, and he given his age and justifiably, he doesn't
all for the club any day
play every game. Yeah,
but the fact is
players around them to make them better, don't you? And I mean that Wright doesn't have to play every minute of every game, which he pretty much does.
And if they're as you say, taking all the big earner brackets, is that long term? I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? I would.
It's up to Gary to balance that budget, isn't he?
And it's up to the players as well.
We've got players who are going to miss 6 weeks at a time in the season. Is that going to help us?
And it depends on the players where they are as well. So, but we'll see. We'll see. So into 9th place, we've got Lemon Evans. Obviously, amazing few performances before the 3. The games have got a bit sort of bogged down. I can't comment on his performance.
It's a bit tough on him.
I think it's a bit tough on him.
Didn't he score a hat-trick 4 games ago?
Yes.
That's true. Okay. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about Conor a little bit, because to his credit, his movement is so good that he does get in the positions to score.
I think it's harsh on him.
He's not a natural striker, is he? So he's not taking those.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not going to score. Just shoot more, mate. Honestly, he's got it in him.
He's not going to score many headers, is he?
No. No, it's a difficult one. But yeah, it's a bit harsh on them. But the public speak, in 8th place, we've got Dan Martin. He's been all right. He's been solid. Again, he's been injured. He's come back. Can't quite found the flow that he was before. But that's how seasons go. You don't play 10 out of 10 all season. He's been solid. Race has kind of been fun.
And I think as well, again, quite often with these things, you look at progression, don't you? You look at time on the training field, and you look at productivity, and you think where he was at the start of the season.
Yeah, he's done brilliant, and he'll be one of the first people I'll be wanting to sign a new contract.
It'll be a left back for next season,
and he's an asset for the club. Asset for the club as well, because he's young. So I have to admit, I'd have to research the compensation fees, but I feel like would he fit into that the main, and I think potentially Joe Lewis. Thing where if they left now, we'd be due compensation.
He's younger.
I don't think Dan Martin attracts many clubs at the moment just because he hasn't proven himself over enough games.
Yeah, I think that's the case, really.
I don't think he will leave unless something surprising happens. But I think he'll be left back next season. That'd be good.
And I think he may be one where geography perhaps won't go hugely against us. He's from kind of this way. It's admittedly, Cardiff, not close to here, but I don't know where he's from initially. But that's where he was acquired from. Close in relative.
Absolutely. Because there's an argument for players at their sort of end of their careers where they go, right, I'm just going to go part-time level below. But most of them, obviously, I presume Aisel's based down here now. Moxie's of course based down here. Wright was going to go Gloucester, I think, before us. And he was at Cheltenham before. So I guess he's still pretty much based down here. So it's up to them, really. But yes, of course, it's up to them. But yeah, we'll see. You're right. It's interesting because they were kind of our figure points, weren't they? Those four. It was Moxie, Winter, Hull. What was the other one when it was like 4 signers coming once we lost our players? These are the first 4 in last season. Who was it again?
Armani was there.
He was later.
Early on,
he was later. It was them and I can't actually remember, to be honest. No, them and I was on a 2-year. It was Lewis. I can't quite remember, to be honest, because Lewis was on 18 months. But yeah,
I think it was a bit of rush to get those guys signed up.
Yeah, it was.
Because we'd lost about 5. So quick.
Get them announced quick.
We need some good news. Stop. Dry your eyes, guys.
I haven't yet, but yeah, all right.
Yeah, not have I. And then going up, we've got Danny Wright. He's worked very hard for us. I wouldn't say he's been foul. He hasn't missed chances, really, has he? To be honest.
And we just play completely differently when he's in the team. When he's not that phase he had when he was injured. Sinclair Armstrong was the best option, the best other alternative we've had. But the way he enables us to play in terms of the way he holds the ball up, the way he wins headers, the way he has a fight with centre backs. Look at the Wrexham game. Look at the Notts County game where you just got to have a fight with the centre backs and
to bring your creative players into the game. So selfless.
Indirectly, he's assisted, not literally, but just in his presence. The approach play for Connor and Armani to score a lot of the goals they have.
Well, I think the decision for Gary is, does he remodel the whole style of the team?
You're right.
If Danny's going to play, you've got to play a certain way to suit his style.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure Danny's a substitute player. That's the trouble.
He's an amazing impact sub, but he wouldn't accept that. I don't think Danny Wright
come on as sub. He doesn't. You've got to have somebody who's ready to go, getting the action quick. I just don't think he's that type of
Would he
player.
prefer to be drop to another team or go another level and play for a full season as a starter, like at Gloucester, for example? Will that move come from this season or next season?
I do wonder if he'll retire. I mean, he is 38 later this year, so it'll be up to him, won't it? He'll see how his legs are in the season.
He knows better than anyone.
And I think, just slightly off topic again, but I think they're kind of from a kind of squad remodelling job. I think so much of it, both literally and budgetary wise, will depend on what happens to Lemon, Evans and Little. If they both turn around and say no, we're gone, then you've got a lot of budget there But equally, if they stay, and Lewis, you probably says, well, if those 3 stayed, they'd be staying on significant chunks of the budget. You would have thought, but you would probably spend it on them. But if they go, then you're looking for more. You've got more budget, but for higher profile players, you've then got to sign that aren't already at the club.
It's finding a striker, isn't it? They're the highest paid. Can we get a good one?
And the hardest to find. They always be the hardest to find, I think, as well.
We don't find many of them at Torquay, do we, over the years? There's not many that get over 20 goals. So.
No.
Sinclair on a season-long loan, we'd walk it.
Yeah.
Here first.
And then, going up, we've got Little. And Yeah, again, a bit harsh.
Harsh.
What number are we on now, Sam?
I don't know what number we're on.
Seven, isn't it?
I have to get a thing because I'm halfway through making the graphics. Hang on. So, I think I was 7 or 6. I was hoping you'd help me out on that because I haven't fully made the graphic yet. I'm kind of going off an Excel. Yeah, about midway, we've got Little.
Well, he's a bit harshly done by, isn't he? He should be in the top 5.
I can confirm he's on 6, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's because he gave a penalty away, I suppose, last minute. That doesn't help.
And it's just this thing. I think our fan base, if Armani Little and Owen Ivans aren't scoring 6 goals and 6 assists a game, they're like, rubbish. Can't believe it. You know, if a 7 out of 10 player is getting a 6, they're like, no, all right. But if them two aren't, they're going, right. I generally think there's that part of our fan base.
Yeah. Skillful players like that are generally written off quite quick like that, aren't they? Where somebody like
shows how good they are.
If somebody like Lapsy has a bad game, they're like, oh, Tommy still had a go.
Yeah, or like all defend or something. So I don't know. I don't know what it is with them two, but
it was an unfortunate penalty, wasn't it? He just miscontrolled it. It was almost like a tired touch.
Yeah,
it was a panicked touch, wasn't it? It was, oh no, I've miscontrolled it. Oh crikey!
Yeah,
but it's kind of compounded, isn't it? But
sort of thing you see a lot in the game, but you're just hoping it's not in your own penalty area.
Yeah. And players like him don't just put their foot through it, do they? They don't just think, oh crikey, I'm going to wallop this. He was trying to take a touch, find somebody, get a break going. He didn't just want to lump in. Yeah, you know, at least it wasn't a dodgy penalty. You can't argue that was a penalty at least.
No. So going up, so we've got these 3 literally stick together in the same order. So we've got Lewis, Moxie, Winter, and we will say the same thing we said, all solid, it's brilliant.
Just watch last week's
again.
Great
pros, carry on. Well done them lot. They're absolutely brilliant.
Moxie finished for the season. I mean, he had an injury against Eastleigh, didn't he? And an injury on Saturday. Bless him. Once he played 40 plus games now, he must be due a rest, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Gary won't. It's one of those difficult situations for managers because he knows, just like the rest of us, that the chances of getting in the playoffs are now even less. But you're not going to start picking. He said, didn't he? He'll keep picking the best team, and we'll keep trying to get as many points because you never know. But I mean, the chances of winning 5 games.
Ola's back.
If Moxie doesn't play, I don't mind seeing Omar get a chance, see what he can do.
No, don't start that again, Sam. I'm pretending you didn't say that. That's been going on social media all day, hasn't it? About Olaf's back. So let's get Olaf in the team. He must get a game.
So if it was going to happen, it would have happened in the last 4 years. Like, especially in the Conference South, it happened a little bit.
I'm sure there's some people on Facebook that say that every time we lose, it's a standard.
Yeah.
But then there's that strange comment that Johnson's made, isn't it? That whilst I'm at the club, he'll be at the club. Why have you never played him then?
He's just going to have the year's going to be like in 10 years, as we said.
Olaf will be in this top 10 by the end of the season. You watch.
Yeah, he will. He will. He wouldn't have played the game for us, but someone would put him in.
Looking forward to his testimonial already.
Oh, mate. There's got to be a player there, but we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, but Lewis and Winter both tough, aren't they? Both good players every week.
Brilliant.
You can count on those sort of players.
Sign them up.
If we can find some more of those in the summer, we'll be quids in, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure we can. Right, so that's third. Winter is, by the way. So then Winter's the top 3, and then the top 2 is Duke McKenna is second.
Told you.
Yeah. Who's first?
Olaf.
Oh yeah, well done. It's Opie Edwards.
Yeah, it's going to be McDonald, isn't it? It's going to be.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So McDonald was brilliant at the weekend again, and it's been all season. And we have the same conversation again. Please don't leave us, Sean. And
it's fascinating. McDonald will be an interesting one, won't it? Because he tried the old grass is greener at the end of last season, again, without knowing the detail as to
totally
how he ended up back with us.
Well. And kind of like, I'm going to find first team football, where now it might be, I'm going to find first team football a level above.
If Torquay's offer him a 2-year contract,
which they probably will, to be fair.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be much of a gamble, would it?
Even if there's a chance he could be, go and be a number 2 elsewhere, number 1. He's definitely good enough to be number 1 in League 2 by a mile. But you never know. Look at Covelin. I think that's an example of it. I know McDonald's younger, and I think more consistent now than Covelin ever was.
Goalkeepers are a funny position as well, isn't it? In that you kind of, in the most other clubs, you can kind of go to another club and back yourself. So where Armani to go to a League 2 club, you say, you could say, well, I'll back myself to prove I'm good enough. But as a goalkeeper, you're either playing or you're not.
Yeah, and
that's
then
difficult,
you get a few games or you're not.
As Halstead's found. Halstead came as number 1, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was going to be 2-year contract, good faith in him, pedigree in the league, and he's barely played a game. And that don't always work, does it?
No, and I think a big part of it...
His agent will put the feelers out, won't he, in early summer and see what's about. He won't be rushed to sign a new deal.
No, he won't, no.
We'll see what's out there.
I reckon if Torquay hopefully put a 2-year deal on the contract for McDonald's, then he'll be like, you're going to be our number 1 for 2 years unless you get injured or decide you're not going to like save anything anymore. Then I think for perspective, you take it because it's a longer career, to have all those games behind him. I think it's different. One thing that we always want players to like go on and move on and that, but there's also that case of there's many examples of players that have played for us who've done well for us, have gone to clubs and then they've fallen back down lower than us quicker than like they would.
If you don't take the chance when you get it,
and I think
and
you've got to make a lot of money as well in your football career as well. So
I think geography kind of comes into it with him, doesn't it? Because he wanted to kind of move closer to home. But I think I understand he's got a family down here and that partner that down here. I think now. So again, 2 years in a football career at our level is stability, isn't it? Really?
And it's very good. It's very good sort of level, still a good standard. We put ourselves down all the time, but playing in goal for a very good National League team with a standard or lower League 2 team, it's still a very good standard to be proud of. Look at like.
I just wish we had more bargaining chips to play with. I suppose to say you've got to stay because next season is going to be our season. We need.
I reckon.
We've got Gary Johnson is our big sell, isn't he?
I think he is. I think if Stockport Wrexham get out of the league, then I think he will. I think there's definitely that ambition. A lot of these players have been in this club for a long time now. I know I probably would have said the same if we were doing this last year about the ones that did leave, like Cameron and all that. But like. A lot of these players have been there for a while, but even like Carl Cameron, that makes sense. He was pushed out of the team. Whitfield that was probably happening months ago because like Cameron Whitfield,
the young players will come, won't they? We can get a few youngsters. It's whether we can get the 26, 27-year-old guys who are proper National League players. The guys who play 40 games a season for you.
Yeah,
and I think the problem is still
so difficult.
If you've got 3 or 4 clubs interested in you, which I dare say happens a fair bit in the summer, do you choose Torquay? This is the problem, isn't it? And I think and I think people lose sight of the fact, when we lost Domain and Whitfield and Cameron and all those players that went, they didn't come to us as finished players. We made them what they became. Whitfield had bottomed out of Port Vale and couldn't get on with anybody.
Yeah.
He was an excellent player for us, but Cameron. Developed into a good footballer. He wasn't, he'd been released from an academy when he joined us. He wasn't anybody that no one had ever heard of.
Didn't even have contact lenses.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, and it's the sort of thing. And so, but you find, my oldest son's terrified of the idea that Little might leave, but you have to try and console him with something. My dad always said to me was that when you support a football club, you have heroes and they come and they go, don't they? And if he goes, Little goes, there'll be a new hero. It's the way it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you get more used to it as you get older. I mean, some of the younger people, especially last summer, took it terribly, didn't they? It was a lot of hate and stuff like that. Whereas people like me have been through it so many times, you kind of get used to it. And, I think move on, haven't you?
Yeah, but I think also around the time that it happened, I think, let's face it, emotionally. In a footballing sense, not a live sense, but in a footballing sense, that's as bad as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's as bad as it gets, and we all felt that for a lot of time.
And there's a way of leaving, like Angus MacDonald, the way he left Torquay United Football Club is the best example. Clearly, he didn't have to sign that new contract. He signed a new contract, and then 2 weeks later, we got a fee for him. Could have got more for him as well because he wanted to leave Torquay.
50 quid, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100 grand, I think we got overall. They got 9.5 million of the John Stones windfall Barnsley did at the time, so we could have got a lot more money. So,
and the pragmatist in you have to say, if Little and Lemonade Evans came out at the end of the season or came out and said, wonderful time here, but I need to take the next step in my career, and he goes and signs for a League 2 club, whilst you'd be upset and gutted, and we wouldn't see him play for our team again, but Little should be playing in the Football League.
Yeah, he should.
Clearly should. Yeah. If he signs for us again, phenomenal. More than happy with that. I'll take that. He should be playing in the Football League.
Should be League 2, League.
If he signs for Notts County,
that's a different.
And that's something else that caused the problem. Yeah.
If you go,
there's only one that went to the league.
Yeah, that's the issue. I think if you look at how we've Torquay fans in general, with like reception Charles Reed and even Coverlin when he was there, it was kind of when they're in a League 2 team. I hate Stevenage and Steve Evans, but if I see Reed in a team, I'm like, oh, please call Reed. I'm still rooting for him. So We'll see.
Reedy's very much borderline League Two, isn't he? He's a very good player, but he's borderline. If somebody
a confident Jamie Reid is League Two, but just a not confident Jamie Reid is National League. So
yeah, he's very much borderline.
And is there even a big gap between League Two and National League anymore? Probably at the top of League Two there is, but I don't think so.
And I think the problem, looking at the formations and the positions, obviously, it's just purely from watching highlights, but what made the difference at Torquay, because let's face it, he'd been that player with us, barely National League standard, but the difference was when Johnson came in, he said, I want you playing in between the posts.
Yeah.
That's why he started scoring all the goals. He'd always played out wide. Looking at the
highlights,
he seems to play out wide quite a lot again now, and kind of down the middle, in between the posts, was where he was so lethal for us.
Yeah. I think the main talking point for me is just to appreciate these players while you've got them, and enjoy their play. You know, these are good players.
I only get 180 more home game minutes of watching Armani Little play. Thanks for that, Dom.
Well, he may still be here. Anything can happen.
No doubt he watches this every week. So Armani, if you're watching this, we all love you. Sign again, please, and thank you. Think of my 9-year-old son.
Cheers, Chris. I'm crying.
I'm wondering if we. Can we crowdfund Reedy back?
I can't believe I'm saying this publicly, but I got asked to name my car when I bought it months ago, and I called it Armani. And now someone nicknamed it. It gets even worse. Someone nicknamed it Carmani Little. So that stuck with it now. So I will have to sell my car if you go. Too many memories.
Why did you name your car?
I don't know. Someone asked. It was like, what are you calling it? I was like, I don't know. That's the first thing. I was like, and then Armani Little was scored. I think literally at that time I was like, well, there you go. There's your answer.
I've never named a car. Is that a thing?
No. Apparently it's mental people. But if you're going to, then Carmani Little. So
I see.
I see. Carmani. Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Actually, no. I remember we were watching.
Quite inventive.
We went all nostalgic as a friend group because we're really cool 22-year-olds, and we watched the Cars film. So we're just talking about what the human world would be like in the Cars world, and then we put loads of puns, and I said Carmani Little, and it surprisingly got laughs. So it stuck with that. So. Man City have made it 3-1. If you're watching this, you keep seeing me go like that. It's because I've got a Champions League on to the side. And yes, so
this is why you people need to go to the pub to make it more interesting.
I'm a very interesting person.
Don't you work in IT?
Yeah, as you can see, I'm still dressed for it. Yeah.
He's a rock star at heart, Chris.
The band life was still there. The band is still there.
You can see the guitar in the background.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it comes out in there. But
I've just got kids washing. That shows how our lives might go wrong.
I haven't been this cool since when Lemon Eye Evans went 3-1 against Notts County. I sprinted down the side of the pop site. I still don't know what came over me. Like I never run. But when that goal went in, I was like, so I'm still getting over that as well. So yeah, fun times. But
2-year deal for Sam, mate.
Yeah, getting
bit of pace.
So is that?
Are we talking about Maidenhead then? Or?
Oh no. Visit place for them, Danny. Visit place for them.
Make sure you do some cutting and pasting here, Sam. Come on.
Yeah.
Nothing says National League than Maidenhead at home on a Saturday afternoon.
Here's a question: Would we have gone up if we had Nathan Blissett in our team? Probably not.
Has he been playing for them? I'm not sure.
He's not been scoring. They're about playing. But actually, Maidenhead, if you look at their position in the league, it's a game we should be winning. I could have made this up, but I'm sure I heard that they've had 5 clean sheets. 5 clean sheets. Yeah, edit that.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard the Maidenhead have had 5 clean sheets in the last 6 games. So
is Alan Devonshire still there? Because he's been there a long time. They beat us 4-1 last season. They restarted our season when they battered us, didn't it? So I'm googling.
I was looking at the league, and they've only won 3 away from home all season.
I think you might be right by the looks of it.
So we should win.
Oh yeah, and then look, the players aren't going to lift their foot off the players are going to put their foot off the gas as well. So they are not even because there can be less pressure. So they've got contracts to pay. You never know what scouts are going to be there. But I can confirm their last few results have been 0-0 draw, 2-0 win, 1-0 win, 0-0, 3-1 defeat, and a 2-1 win. So 4 of the last 6 they've got.
4 out of 6.
Close.
Close.
Yeah.
But these games are funny because on paper there's nothing on it, so it'll probably be a rubbish game. But quite often these are the cracking games that finish 5-3, aren't they? So you just never know, do you, with these games? But
I'll go for a low key 2-0.
4-3 at their place, wasn't it, when we went there?
I predicted 1-0 originally, and I'm going to go for it. So
low key 2-0 for me.
Home win.
I think the home crowd might be a bit sort of low key because
it suns out though, isn't it? I felt like that early in the season when we had those 2-0 nils against Bromley and Barham Woods. But like, I think it suns out. Hopefully, that second to last
the crowd can get going a bit.
Yeah. Keep the average attendance up so we get more of that pot next season than money. And before we get kicked out of the Zoom, I'd like to say thanks for joining me again, you two. Very good. We got a lot of talk out of that, so well done. I don't know what we're going to start talking about when it's mathematically over, but we'll see how it goes.
Next season.
Yes, it will be.
The looking ahead edition.
Yes. So
well, there is talk about doing a who we keep and who we don't. So something to look forward to.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dom's already written his piece pitching to keep Keelan O'Connell, aren't you, Dom?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what family members.
I'm not sure that'd be an easy sell, that one.
But as we said, we're the nice people. We can't say anything bad. We keep everyone in this team. You know, we don't want to offend any families.
No, I wouldn't.
No chance.
I've got a soft spot for Keelan.
We'll do a Patreon, whatever they call it, special where we actually say our honest views. So that would be funny. So we clickbait it. Honest views.
You have to pay to view it.
Yeah.